So today we got a great trailer for Darktide, which gives us an intro into the world and universe of Warhammer 40k. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be a Warhammer expert, but there are a few different things that I definitely think people missed when they looked at this trailer, because there are a lot of different links that kind of make me froth at the mouth for some of the potential story ideas behind this. So that's why in this video I wanted to break down all of these details step by step, so that way it all makes a bit more sense. So to begin with, we see a ship as it gets ready to enter the warp. Now, I haven't explained the warp before on my channel, but essentially in Warhammer 40k, this is how you achieve faster than light travel. You pretty much have to travel through a psychic dimension, which is mostly populated by demons and evil entities. Now, some races have found ways to get around this, but we're not going to be focusing on that part of this today. To keep things simple, if you are a human, you need to travel through the warp in order to get around the universe. While there are some good parts to the warp, it does actually function as a reflection of the current universe. However, the normal universe in Warhammer 40k is pretty goddamn depressing, scary, and grimdark, so the reflection of that is gonna be the same. And that's why you need to protect yourselves when you enter the warp. So that's pretty much why we see the ship locking all of the doors, which unfortunately doesn't really work for them, but we'll explain why later. We also see an NPC called Ivan looking at a holograph of the planet Atoma Prime. The reason why I say his name is because there is a piece of concept art on the Darktide website which has a bloke looking just like him, and that file is called NPC Ivan. So this looks to be a character that we will be seeing in the full game. However, it is unclear what exactly his job is. I think he may be an Inquisitor acolyte, because we can see the massive eye hung around his neck in the concept art, and we can also just ever so slightly see that here in the trailer. We then see an Adeptus Mechanicus priest going through and kind of blessing the technology of a couple of these people. I'm not sure what exactly he's blessing, like if it's the weapons or like the sort of seat holders that they're about to just roller coaster themselves into. But it is a really cool shot, and I like the aesthetic of it. And there's also an Ogre that has a special high chair, so that's amazing. Finally, we then see a Navigator who is about to almost kind of initiate the jump. Now, a lot of people think that the lady doing the voiceover for the trailer and also giving the nod to start the warp jump is an Inquisitor. I happen to disagree. I think that she is simply the captain of the ship, because she doesn't have any inquisitorial symbols on her, but it's entirely possible that this is an acolyte or someone else who works for the Inquisition, so it could go either way. But moving on, we then see the ship go through the warp and the effects that this has on the rest of the crew. We have what appears to be some of the members who are strapped in on restraints, who are seeing tentacles and chaos demons. There are also what appears to be potentially psychers who are having like a triple projection of themselves, and they are just losing their entire freaking minds. So that is cool and scary at the same time. And then we also see effects on the ship as well, with this ridiculous coldness that is causing there to be ice forming on the steel of the ship all over. Some of the crew members can also see what looks like a chaos spawn. It's hard to tell because it's blurry but yeah, definitely the stuff that's in your nightmares. But thankfully, we then see the ship exit the warp and steadily head towards the hive city of Tertium, and that is the end of that part. However, I have an interpretation which is a little bit more scary. So, we don't actually see anyone on the ship after it exits the warp. So, my belief is that the ship has actually been compromised, because from my understanding, a Gellerfield, which is supposed to be on every human ship that goes into the warp, is supposed to protect you from all of these nasties, and it really doesn't look as if they have had much protection. So during the trip through the warp, we may have actually seen the Gellerfields break down, become almost, I guess, overloaded, or potentially if they were powered down from the inside. What if there is a heretic, a traitor, or a saboteur, if you will, on board the Inquisitor's retinue? I think that would be a great twisty twist that would make the game hella interesting. But the only reason why I say it is because it just didn't look like that was a normal trip through the warp. That looked like there was some crazy stuff going on, so I suspect that there's something else at play here. We also see the engines turning off, which is not really weird, but it's unsettling if you think about the idea of demons populating some of the ship. So maybe part of the ship has been taken over by demons, and that's why the engines turn off, but that's just my interpretation. We then kind of go back onto the ground, and we actually catch up with the squad that we saw in the initial reveal trailer. Somehow, that squad was able to survive against a Plague Ogryn and a bunch of Poxwalkers, and they are now running away, and they are then cornered by a Chaos Spawn, and then killed. It looks like Fat Shark also updated the design for the Chaos Spawn to have some kind of like biomechanical upgrades. I'm not sure if that's something that they've done just to change the design only, or if it actually plays differently in the game as well. Like if a Chaos Spawn has some like slightly different abilities, I think that would be interesting as well to keep veterans on their toes. But that's pretty much about it for this breakdown of the trailer. Like I said at the start, I'm not a Warhammer expert, so if you do want to add anything, please feel free to do that in the comment section down below. And if you do have any interesting ideas, I'd also love to hear them. They can be amazing fun to read and theorize about. But that's pretty much about it for today, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. I've been Kiv, and I'll see you all on the next one.